Kingdom of the Shires.
The elected position of Earl Countess of Coin, who is responsible for all accounting in the kingdom. So that's me. I keep track of everything, and I have deputies that help me with all of the accounting. Earl Countess of Coin will be allowed as many deputies as necessary to maintain bookkeeping, financing, accounting reports, money distribution, taxes, etc. for the kingdom, and will work directly with as accountants of the lines of business. Coin and all deputies will be paid positions if the monarch approves and the comitium ratifies the budget for staff. So that's where we're like, it's kind of a big job. It's like scribe. We don't know if we want to pay this person or not. We don't know if we want to pay the people underneath that person or not. That's what's up for debate right now. Shires. All shires must submit their annual budget to the Earl Countess of Coin no later than December 1st each year. We'll determine the budget for the year. There'll be a budget meeting between the monarch, Countess of Coin, Marquis d'Angel Sus, Duke of Orleans, and each shire's baron or baroness. This budget must be approved by the monarch and ratified by the comitium, paid in quarterly installments, so once every 3 months.
Before we read the whole thing, Susan, can we just take it one chunk at a time?
Sure. I was just going to go over everything really quick and then go on points, but that works.
So the question was, do we go and pay the people that are running the kingdom?
Well, should we step it back a little bit and determine if this is something that should be fundraised by the kingdom, or is it something that the business as a separate entity should be donating to the shire? How do we want to do this? Because we figured out just by a little bit of math that if we were to pay any positions in the shire, we are not going to make enough off of guild fees and door fees to make that up. So we have to do some sort of money, and that's why this is all brought up, is because we just can't just pay for it itself. It's not working that way. We have to have some sort of income.
That's where my first question comes in is, I know you've said in the past, Chris, that the money's coming from you, right?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Both me and Dad, yeah.
Yeah, and are we putting the cart ahead of the horse here?
As far as?
Like we're talking about paying people before we actually have a source of money.
Yeah, and that's probably something that we'll have to figure out later on. But for the moment, it's like, yeah, we need to get some sort of income first before we can even consider paying people. The whole point of wanting to pay people is because these are such huge jobs that require so much time and effort that it's not that we feel bad for not paying people. It's that it requires a certain level of motivation, and it's almost like video editing. A lot of YouTubers pay their video editors. It's not something they do for free, you know. It's a lot of work and a lot of time and effort, and you either need really dedicated people or you need to pay somebody.
Right.
And finding really dedicated people that don't want to get paid is hard to find.
So let's talk about lines of business. Like, how are we getting money in? Let's just break it down and brainstorm where money comes from.
So we can do...
I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see my notes.
I was going to say we can do fundraising.
So that's one.
So GoFundMe, bake sales, general, like, how do walkathons work, or jogathons or whatever? Do people pay an entrance fee and then that money goes towards the business? Or not business, but the organization?
Yes. However, I'll tell you that with the organizations that and groups that I've been working with lately, what's been most successful is Patreon.
That's definitely an option.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Patreon stuff.
Yeah, Patreon has worked out really, really well for a couple of different groups that I'm part of. And the most difficult part of Patreon is to figure out what the reward levels are. Like like for example, Awaken the North, which is a heathen group I'm part of, they have starting at, I think it's like $5 a month and going all the way to like $30 a month. I don't think they actually have any Patreons at 30, but like I subscribe at $20 a month. And at $20 a month, I get a bi-monthly bloat in a box, which has like all the ingredients for me to do my own private bloat in my home, which is a, it's basically a ritual. And then like the merchants that are a part of their merchants guild, if you will, donate stuff that gets sent out to this level of Patreon.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah. So at $5 a month, you just get like, our thanks. Like my daughter and her husband have a very successful YouTube channel, and like their $5 a month patrons just get a hey, thanks a lot on their YouTube front page. At $20 a month, you get a producer credit on their videos. And, they have like, quote unquote, private hangouts for their high end patrons. They'll have like video editing parties where Micah, who does their video, my son-in-law, he'll like just pop into, I don't know what they call it, but anyway, he'll do like a YouTube live where he's video editing, but you can also chat. So walkathons, you can really only do in the summer, don't provide an ongoing source of income, and require a lot of logistics. Whereas Patreon supplies an ongoing source of income year-round. Yes, Patreon does take a percentage, but all we'd have to come up with is here's the monthly donation amount, and here's what you get for it.
So do you think we need a bigger media presence in order to kind of work this into our favor, or is it we just need to work more with Patreon and the stuff we have?
I mean, there's no harm in starting with what we've got and then using that to expand. I mean,
So,
I don't think there's any problem with starting small.
true. So we might want to pick one thing and kind of make that our thing for a little bit, see how it does, and if it's working well, then we make it bigger and we start a different line of business, and if it's not working well, then we drop it and we start a different line of business.
I mean,
the guild seemed like a good place to start.
True. That's kind of aside from like the Patreon thing, but I'm saying like with the Patreon gift box things, we come up with like 4 or 5 different things or whatever that we can stuff in the gift box, and if those things don't sit well with people, we get feedback, we get reviews, and then we try something else for the gift boxes.
well, I think the first thing to do would be to come up with if you guys like the Patreon idea, I can put together hey, here's proposed levels, and then figure out what do people get at those levels.
If you look at my stream, I've got some ideas in there already.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. At the end or beginning or in the middle of every single one of our videos, I think we should have a kingdom advertisement, whether that's, hey, please donate if you have the ability to do so, whatever, because it really, really helps us continue what we do best, and your support is everything, and be really, really thankful towards everybody who has participated and watched and subscribed. But if we have at least start with donations because we don't have any product yet, I think that
Yeah.
is still better than not doing anything at all yet. And I've mentioned this before, but
Yeah.
So another thing we were talking about doing was classes. Now, the idea is behind guilds, anybody can make a guild. Like John and Keaton and JD and I are looking at doing a blacksmithing guild. And the premise would be three parts. One, to learn how to do this kind of stuff from people that know what they're doing. And you would pay fees in the guild, which the guild gets a license from the kingdom once a year. And that license is carte blanche to go to any event and set up a vendor table for free if you're in a guild and you pay a license to the kingdom, like $100 a year or something like that.
so guild members pay their fee towards the guild, and the
Yep,
guild
and
pays
then-
their fee towards the kingdom.
And the guild members' fees also cover the cost of materials. They get free classes on how to do this stuff. And, you know, they get the name and the recognition of being a part of that guild. Like, hey, this armor came from this guild. Right? And then, like, John puts his stamp on it, or the guild puts their stamp on it. And that actually helps brand that merchandise. It also lets the guilds set pricing so that they're not gouging each other on the same armor costs.
Right.
So guild licenses to the kingdom is one way to get it. You could also offer kingdom classes, right, where the kingdom is putting on a class about how to do a loom, or how to bake this food, or how to do this kind of setup or something like that.
And even going back to like the guild thing, the classes that say a blacksmithing guild puts on, they're free to the guild members, but then non-members have to pay the fee
Right.
per class period. And if they want to join the guild, then they just pay the guild fee, and then the rest of the classes are free.
So the classes the guilds put on, that money goes towards the guild. The classes the kingdom puts on, that raises money for the kingdom.
And then, and it's, you know, a lot of classes, obviously blacksmithing is very hands-on, but there's a lot of classes that could be done
Online.
online.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
in
and like
private YouTube channel.
That or a private Discord channel that you've got to pay to be a part of.
Right. Right.
and I've got a little bit of crafting experience, and that's why I was Privy Counselor. And anybody who has any sort of green, we can do a lot of like video and distancing with, versus like Air Mexig and Coreg is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing too would be like annual event passes, which are a little bit cheaper than the door fees for members to get into events. Right?
Yeah, I would say versus door fee on that same line, and then put door fee as a different line of business.
Yeah, I think I got that in there. Event door fees, they're down there.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
Which-
another would be feast fees.
So you
Don't
get-
make
would-
great for charge for the feast.
wouldn't the door fee cover the feast?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if your door fee is well, because is a door fee, does that include like fighting and stuff, or no?
Well, it depends if there's prizes.
Okay.
So if we're looking at events as its own line of business, obviously they would be BYOB, right? Because
Yeah, I was gonna
then
say
we
we have
can
to.
avoid the liquor license.
Yeah, we have to drop alcohol if we're doing door fees. We can't do that anymore.
So we can't charge people for the event and then the alcohol is included with it. Big old prohibition thing. See, the ATF would be all over us. The BYOB on the alcohol would just be, if you want to bring alcohol, you give it to the bartender and you're bringing it to share.
Although, if we ever got to the point where we're renting a space because the shop stay just isn't big enough physically for one of the events we want to hold, that could be a door fee with alcohol included, and then that building already has the liquor license, or I've got a bartending license, I could whatever.
Yeah.
But then that would be more acceptable to have alcohol there and charge a door fee instead of here because we're right across the street from a school.
So tournament fees would be any tournament where
tournament
there's prizes
separate.
involved.
And this isn't necessarily just applying to us, because like John has the whole space at his mom, so he could charge an entrance fee. But then that's the other part of this where our shires funding themselves, and if they make money off of things, are they giving it to the kingdom or are they keeping it for their own events for the next year? I think we all agreed that the kingdom funds the shires, so I think if shires are making money, that needs to go to the kingdom.
Well, you can look at that in two ways. One is, let's say Bear Hill Shire has all the resources, all the time, all the money, and we're spending a lot of money to get people in here. Wouldn't that money go better back into Bear Hill Shire again? Because like we have all the equipment downstairs to hold classes, to do blacksmithing that we paid a lot of personal money for.
True. So
Like maybe a percentage goes to the kingdom?
well,
It's a split.
A split?
do what?
Half and half?
Yeah. I mean, if the kingdom is funding the shires and the boroughs, money brought in by the shires and the boroughs should be split between the kingdom and the shires and the boroughs.
I like that.
Okay, if you've got people raising money on their own, it's really easy to get
Stingy.
dishonorable about how much you actually got. So you got to have accountants from the kingdom running those fundraisers.
That's what I had said about the coin having deputies. Those deputies basically are the ones that are assigned to each individual borough or shire, and they keep track of that borough or shire and they report to the coin.
Yeah.
And then that way it sucks that it's, kind of micromanaging this stuff, but the fact that the funds aren't being brought by the shires themselves, that's where it's like, okay, it's our money. We want to make sure that it's going where everybody has agreed it to go.
Well,
Another,
and
Go
there
ahead.
could be kingdom events too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
'Cause,
the
like,
goal is to have
if I have an archery event at Brayburn, I want that to be a kingdom event, not a, I don't have a shire there.
Do we
That's
have
going
to?
to be.
Is that your cabin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's something we could definitely do. And everything in that kingdom event is all about fundraising for the kingdom.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I think merchant vendor tables at events is going to be big because if we can get a big crowd there and we can get merchants there to sell their stuff, that's going to be a lot of revenue coming in from those spaces that we're renting out.
Yeah. I don't think an archery thing at Brayburn would be that kind of event.
Okay. Because there's
But other stuff, yeah, absolutely.
like John's big event in Monroe has a lot of space where we
Yeah.
could set up a whole bazaar of tents, and
Yeah.
put on whatever they want to put on for like their wares. Like I know Brooke would do candles, Janelle could sell her pictures and her stuff. Matthew could sell his leatherworking. Keaton and John could sell their armor and weapons. And then it's like either you're paying a license to the kingdom to rent out those spaces for the whole year, or if you're not a guild that's licensed with the kingdom, you can just rent the space for the day. And if it costs you $50 for the space, depending on the size of the event, if you can't make $50 in sales during the day, you probably need to have better stuff to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a good one. So what about guild licenses? How much are we looking at charging for those?
Well, how many guilds do you anticipate having?
At least 2 right off the bat.
And what are the benefits of this again?
To the kingdom or to the guild or to
the guild. What
To-
are they getting for their money?
for paying for the license?
Yep.
Free promotion on the website. So once the website's up and going, they're going to get free advertising on that.
Okay.
They get producer credits on videos that for stuff they build.
Okay.
They get free table spaces at events to sell their products,
Okay.
and they get an extra discount on door fees.
$100.
Okay,
I mean, that's just.
that makes sense. And then what is
And
it?
if
So
people
let's go over
balk-
what they get. It's going to be free advertising on YouTube and on Kingdom of the Shires.com. They get free table or vendor tables, which means we have to start including vendors at events.
Right.
So that has to start happening.
Yeah, which means we have to figure out space. Like if you're having something at your place, we have to figure out where to put them.
Right. So I'm going to say that it's on the vendor and the guild to bring their own tents and tables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can't afford to provide that. The reduced fee, reduced event door fee.
Yeah.
So like say 25% off, whatever the ticket price is.
Oh, at least.
And that would be, so if we're looking at event annual passes for the,
Well, I would say half off.
half.
Yeah. I mean, $100 a year is just.
I'm back.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's.
If you had 4 guys and they're chipping in $50 each for the year, that covers the guild license and then $100 towards their supplies that they need for the year. And then if they're charging for classes to get money, and if they're selling stuff at the tables to get money.
I mean, mind you, this is a new concept.
Right.
So I think for starters, we have to make this extremely affordable and of great benefit.
Well, the plan was to lowball a lot of it so people would
Yeah.
catch interest.
Yeah.
Start
Well,
off
I think
cheap and
another
then build value and then make it more expensive later.
Right. Right.
I think another point with this is that when we turn this into a bill, we need to summarize it, point out important points, and tell people, read this because this is how we're going to fund ourselves.
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
probably one of the most important ones that we're going to work through and debate on and pass, because this is going to determine how we're financing ourselves, so we are not the bearers of that burden anymore.
Well, and frankly, I'm gonna guess that 1 in 10 are actually gonna read through it.
Yeah. But if we can give people a summary kind of what's happening in the bill, I think that will help to like, oh, hey, okay, that sounds good. I like that. I don't like that. Let me take another look through this.
What do you guys think of all those numbers?
That's a little low.
Yeah.
Which one?
Both of them. I would personally, I would split it half, 50-50.
Yeah, don't even make it 2 bullet points. Just say 50% each. And the percent sign comes after the number. Sorry. OCD.
I was gonna point that out. Thank you.
Okay. So, events, if you pay $100 and you're a member of the Kingdom of the Shires, that would be not commoners. You have to be roped in, at least, right?
Sure.
Okay. You pay
So,
100 bucks, free entry in every event for the year.
Yeah, but with that being said, we need to have a certain number of events for that to be like worth it for people.
Yeah.
So
If
we
we
need
have-
a minimum.
Okay, so if we have 4 events, then let's just make this 75.
Yeah. So
And
if you go to 4 events and you pay 25 at the door versus
getting one
75
free.
for the whole year.
Right?
Buy 3, get 3.
So, feast costs. How are we going to monitor that? Hey, they didn't pay for food, but they're over there eating.
I say that just make it the door fee.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So,
And
probably
maybe make the door fee a little bit more, like 30.
30
Yeah.
per
Just-
event.
Yeah.
So that it makes the annual event pass an even greater value.
Okay. So this would include camping space, not guaranteed beds or floor space, right?
Right.
Yeah. But then we need to determine just how much space we have and make it kind of like a first come, first serve. Like how many camping spots can we actually give out to people?
Porta potties?
Yeah, for sure. We need those if we're doing larger events, or we need to rent a building.
Food for the weekend or for the day?
I'd say it covers the feast fee, but that's where it's like, I don't know. When you go to a hotel, you're paying, let's say, $60 to $100 per night, and that includes complimentary breakfast, but you have to get your own dinner usually. So it's like, I don't know.
For the, I would say just it includes the feast.
So what we do at BHS, any food that's out in there during the day of the event, have at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't guarantee it. I would say it includes feast.
Yeah, I would not continue doing breakfast because that is such a burden to everybody that is running the event. It is so much food and we do not have the fridge space for it, and it's so many dishes. It takes up most of our time. It takes almost a whole day after an event to clean up. That is ridiculous.
Okay, so you get camping space, porta potties, feast and sides, alcohol at liquor licensed events, or BYOB.
I would take out the alcohol at liquor licensed events, because if it's a liquor licensed event, you're going to have to charge more.
Or they're going to have to pay for the drinks.
Or provide the necessary insurance for shit like this.
Yeah.
So we're just going to leave alcohol out of this for right now, altogether.
Yeah, leave that, but don't. I think if we get to a point where we're able to have a liquor license, we're going to be charging more for the event.
If we've got big prizes, Keaton's prizes cost us like about $1,000.
Fuck me.
Yeah. At Nightfall, the crossbow, the sword, and the dagger. Keaton, what was it? What you paid you, man?
It wasn't $1,000. It was like
800, something like that.
yeah, it was closer to 800.
Still, yeah. I mean, if you had, how many people did we have get into that tournament with the shooters and the? We'd have to do the tournament structure different so that if you're paying that much money to get in, you've got an equal chance to win all the prizes. So like Carrie,
Right.
you wouldn't have been able to get the crossbow because you weren't in the Crucible. So we should probably save those Crucible type events for if we do a ranked fighter system amongst the kingdom.
Yeah.
Like you have that one event a year that's specifically for all the people that hit this rank. Like they have this many points throughout the year, this many fight wins or tournament wins, and then they get into this one special tournament where there's those kinds of Crucible events. But
Yeah.
like just like a straight up archery tournament at Rayburn, that would
Yeah. We'd want to have. I would probably want to have different types of. I'd probably want to do medals or something for that.
Or like maybe a cheaper-ish bow from a sporting goods store, like a longbow, or a quiver, a handmade quiver that somebody made in a crafting class.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like a one of the new technology bows. Those new recurves that are coming out with the clip together.
Here's an idea. What if we had a special guild license for the weapon makers and the armor makers, that they got an extra discount at events if, like, they're free to go to events if they're providing the prizes.
Well, and that's something that we've done at the Wisconsin Highland Games. Is we have asked for extra promotion at the games. We've asked the vendors to provide raffle prizes.
The raffle that we had at the last event worked pretty good.
Yeah.
God, that's been really successful at the Highland Games.
I think it
love having their stuff in the raffle because the raffle table at the Highland Games is where you first walk in, so you see everything like as soon as you get there. So I know this is a totally different, thing, but it would be great if we could get some of the merchants and some of the guild members to donate prizes to get their stuff out in front of people right away.
I also feel like it would be a lot better to do that instead of having like electronics like we had, which a lot of people were interested in, but it's the whole point of a medieval event is to have medieval stuff. So I think people would be a little bit more interested in something that's somebody handmade or like a
Wood
really
tablets.
cool... What?
Wood tablets.
Yeah, but like a really cool handmade crafted goblet with a whole bunch of like decorative ornamentation carved into it or something, but something a little more period, I guess, that they can add to their medieval collection at home.
Yeah. Or
Okay.
even, custom crafted something.
Right, which
Yeah.
kind of goes back to the guilds. So they would get any prize makers or raffle, any prize maker guilds get what, one free event? Or whatever event they're making the prize for, they get in free.
Sure.
This is getting a little bit specific on
Yeah, I
guild
think
stuff.
so.
Well,
We're trying to look
guilds
more
is where,
into...
guilds is where we can really start ramping in people into joining
But
up across the kingdom,
But
True.
like, let's say I wanted to donate a custom crafted oh my god, my words are failing me, a Viking underdress and apron dress. Would I have to join a guild to do that or make a guild to do that?
That's a good point. So let's just say if you want to donate to the event for like a prize or something, raffle or for a tournament prize, you get in free.
Right, but do I have to be a guild to do
No,
that?
no, no, you don't. We can just make that like an individual part of the event. Like, hey, if you want to make something for the event, tell us what's going to be beforehand. Show us pictures of it beforehand. Have it made beforehand, so we can see that you're not donating a handkerchief to get in free.
I think when we start enforcing door fees and event fees and blah 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 and all this stuff, we need to give people like a 6-month heads up, like, hey, in 6 months we're going to start enforcing this, instead of bam, you're going to get charged money for the next event, sorry, screw you.
Yeah,
I
agree.
So
I think this, and we also, the other thing about that size of a door fee, there's got to be, we're going to have to guarantee more value. There's got to be more bang for the buck. I'm not saying that the Nightfall wasn't worth $30. I'm not trying to say that, but people are used to used to that event not really costing anything, right?
Right.
So we're going to have to provide a bit more value for them to want to spend $30 to be there.
So
Gotta up our game.
Musical acts.
Yeah.
True. So part of the door fee would include a musical act.
Like having Mike Kinney there, did that make an impression on that event versus other events you've been to that weren't like Ren fairs? Because I know we've had Bardmageddon, and Mike Kinney is their second professionally hired act. So, I mean, if that's worth it, I think we paid Bardmageddon like $120 or something like that. I forget. And I know Mike, we paid like 200. So it kind of went because they really undercharged for what they were doing.
Yeah, I'd say if you were only paying them that much, Jesus.
Well, they only did like 4 songs.
Okay.
They came in 20-minute set and that was it. And they drove like an hour and a half to do it, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can stay all day, hang out, whatever.
It did a little bit,
They
but
did, yeah. They stayed for dinner and they played around with boffer and archery and stuff. But I mean, getting the musical acts, getting the vendors in there—that's where the Gray Chain ambassadors are going to come in to go out and get these vendors, to get the acts,
Yeah.
to get the contracts signed. So that's going to be big. That's actually the next thing that we're pushing through is the Gray Chain. Jake, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
You said we should do the honor codes first.
Well, I mean, you can kind of do it in whatever order you want to, but I feel like it would be good to have the honor codes figured out because then if, people start fucking around or whatnot, then you have that set up.
So we've got 3 bills on the table: finances, honor code, and Gray Chain. Which one's the priority?
Probably finances, so we can start pushing for income for all this stuff.
Okay.
And then we can give people the necessary heads up of like, hey, we're going to start charging fees. And then we can do the honor and then the other one. I forgot already.
Okay. So Gray Chain, honor
Gray Chain.
codes, and finances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Something kind of unrelated, I'm sorry, but for our events, I want to say for any Shire, Kingdom, Borough event that is hosted, if there is something important that is happening, that needs to happen first every time, because
like the
I've noticed that
ceremony and...
knighting ceremonies, coronations, investments, that needs to happen at the beginning of the event because it is really hard to maintain decorum when everybody is shit-faced.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
And
Yeah,
I understand wanting to do nightings on the hill in the dark, but sometimes it's just not possible. And we have a stage, and it's fine if it's daylight and it's not a torchlit path.
So
it looks cool, but
We knighted Keaton yesterday, Carrie. Did you see the video?
I did. That was cool.
So we did it in the shop, in the bear den, and I don't think there was any problem with that.
No.
no. And I feel like that doing the serious stuff first gets it out of the way. Nobody is having to maintain a certain decorum while
or dress
they're
code.
Yeah, so like the dress code is already done with. Everybody's been dressed up for the group photos. All the glory shots are done. And then from that point on, it is leisure time. And then you can enjoy the rest of the event. So you can participate in tournaments or you can dance or whatever.
I'm gonna say,
But then it's,
I'm gonna say if we have people that are getting knighted for the first time, unless it's like -20, we should probably knight them on the hill.
yeah,
Unless they want to be in absentia. If it's absentia, do it in the shop. Who cares?
yeah.
But if it's the first time, like Keaton, this is your second time getting knighted. So did that really bother you doing it in the shop versus on the hill?
Really?
I'm pretty sure you wanted to go up there and freeze yesterday, right?
No, I did not.
I'm pretty sure people care more about how serious we take it
Right.
versus the location. I really don't think location is super important as long as they feel like the event was important, and doing it after everybody's eaten and drinking, that makes it really hard to maintain the seriousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you got to wait for dinner until after the ceremony's over.
Yeah, or you eat first and then you do the ceremony. Either way, doing it closer to the end of the night makes it really hard for everybody to participate fully and mentally.
I'm going to say that's a barony decision. John may want to do it different.
Okay.
Fair.
So if
Well,
you,
then I make that Bear Hill thing. We do that at the beginning of events. I was saying that for all events because then that way we can maintain a certain level of seriousness throughout
Well,
the kingdom.
here's another thing too. When we start putting vendors at events, like say at John's event, you get there, you march down the hill, he goes into the spiel about how the event's going to run. Everybody's running around for like 6 or 7 hours. Where are the vendors going to have time to sell to people, and who are they selling to?
Adventurer. We can try that. Seriously, what's wrong with trying that?
That's actually a really good idea.
Explain that reference. I don't think Carrie's seen that one.
Quincy's
Say what?
Like Quincy's Tavern?
No.
No. Here, I'll send you a link. Give me a sec.
Just explain
Okay.
it, JD.
Okay. So basically, there's this YouTube channel on YouTube that does like parodies of video games, right?
Okay.
You've heard of WoW or you've seen WoW, like World of Warcraft?
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot of parodies from that. They do lag, glitching, hacking, and they also do like the tropes in game. So a lot of the times, whenever you go to like a new town or you pick up a quest item or you go just like start the game, you often get at the very start of it, it's like, hello, adventurer. How can I help you? Or how can you help me? That kind of shit.
Got it.
So you're talking about having like Gray Chain ambassadors there at the events to kind of herd people around or at least point them in the right direction?
That's
Yeah.
a really good idea too, to kind of have event helpers throughout, just kind of playing the role of their part and kind of making it a little bit more like LARP, like we wanted to include for a long time now, but didn't really know how to do. We can create kind of a NPC event players role playing D&D type live action thing that makes people feel like this is more what's the word, where reality kind of blurs away and you feel like you're in something. Like
It's
in
an
the game.
adventure.
You're immersed into the reality or the fiction.
Yeah, immersive. I'll be right back.
So we need to start really working in the chains and the disciplines and all the stuff that we're doing here to give people this ownership of what they're doing and getting credit for it.
Okay.
Like the merchants in the Gray Chain get credit for dollar sales. If your job is to sell stuff, that's how you're going to earn rank. So that's coming up. And I think getting people involved on that kingdom level builds that community that makes them want to go to this kind of thing and pay money for it. That's where the value comes in. You know, like, hey, I know this guy from that guild over there, and I know this guy from this shire and that borough, and we're all this, like, we get together at these events and we are our own army, and that's what we do. We plan and train to come to these events and fight in these battles, right? Or you can have a fighters guild that is just all about training their HEMA people and how to win these tournaments. You know, and the guilds don't have to necessarily be like, and I know I keep coming back to this, but it doesn't have to be a super money involved thing. It's just like, we pay our license to the kingdom and this lets us get certain things for free.
What does HEMA mean?
Historical European martial arts. It's a lot of the people do it. Janelle does it. Kat does it. Yeah.
Just needed to know what the acronym stood for.
Yeah,
I'm back.
sword fighting.
So I'm sorry, just not part of this conversation, but from the ambassador LARP thing.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good way to have people incorporate their personas a little bit more than what we are now. Because a lot of people pick a name and then most people forget it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So then that way you can say, I am Lilia McBarrow, Baroness of Bear Hill Shire, and that is part of my persona. And we don't all have to walk around with pompous British accents, but we can kind of immerse ourselves a little bit more, and that can help contribute to increasing the value.
In your case, it would be a lot of incoherent screaming in Scottish.
What I was saying is it helps contribute to the value of our events when we're trying to, like Carrie was saying, we have to give people a little bit more bang for their buck. Having that will help to kind of give everybody a little bit more immersion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So promote kingdom and discipline immersion.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we paying, who are we paying at events? Photographer, AV, for sure.
People who are cooking for the feast.
The cooks, yep, definitely.
So audio, visual, cooks. I would say general staffing people that are either helping clean, judge, or just kind of assist where needed. And I'd say that's a general thing. So if you're a judge, you are also potentially being asked to help clean. So we're not paying 16 different people $100 a piece to go and clean up a couple dishes here and there. Like if you're working for the day, you are working for the day. And that is what we are paying you for.
Okay, we gave John $300 for his budget for Kleinberg. He spent half of it on AV. So I'm thinking that either he's way overcharging or we're way underestimating how much that's going to cost.
We could look up other people who do professional AV others than Logan.
Yeah, and then just kind of see what the actual average price range of that is, so we can
how
tell
much
if
is
we're
a wedding photographer for the day?
that. Well,
Same thing.
I don't know. We need to look it up.
Although
We can't just guess here.
they probably don't need to dodge arrows at weddings.
Well, true, but at the same time, it's that's always up in the air. I mean, we'll look at Alex's wedding. That's probably going to happen. And
So what are we setting a cap on for musical acts? 200?
Is this okay? Hold on. I'm just gonna ask for a timeout for a second. Is all of this that we're talking about on this sheet that you have here necessary to discuss the financing bill that we need to pass?
Yeah,
because the financing bill is getting rewritten completely.
Okay, I understand that. I get it.
But as far as this goes, we need to figure out lines of business to where this is coming from.
Well, not necessarily, Dad. We can decide right here and now, is the kingdom funding itself or is a business funding it? That's like if all of these lines of business are coming from somewhere, are they coming from the kingdom or is it from a business?
Hold on. Look, step back and look at the bigger picture. We have to say Little Pines are not paying for everything forever. Okay? That's number one. So two, the kingdom has to start coming up with income. It doesn't matter where the money's going to go if there's no income coming in.
True.
So we have to determine where the money's coming from first and then decide, do we have to 501c the kingdom? Do we have to have a business license on the side that's providing these sales? Because if we start making more than $5,000 a year on income, we have to claim that in taxes.
True.
Right?
Now we're talking about several different conversations.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
This is way bigger than what this is.
That's why I'm calling a timeout here, because I was asked to participate in a conversation about this bill.
Fair enough.
And now we're talking about 501c3 for the kingdom as a nonprofit. So that's a whole different, hear me out.
It is.
That's a whole different animal than talking about a financing bill.
So,
and I've already given you my thoughts on setting up a LLC for the business.
Right.
And it's super easy. I can do it for you if you just give me the information.
We're going to wait on that.
I think that's like $75 or something. Maybe it's $150.
Right.
It's not a big deal. Can be done online. The 501c3 though, that takes time.
We know. We've done a lot of research on this already too, and it's just I wanted the big picture to see where everything was coming from before we decided how it was going to go through the kingdom.
So, Dad, this might be where we have to say start as an LLC as a separate entity from the kingdom, and we donate to it.
Back up. This is going to be a multi-chat session. We're just brainstorming today.
Okay.
That's all we're doing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We're not writing the law and going to pass it tomorrow. This is just brainstorming ideas.
Got it.
Sorry, should have been more clear on that.
Okay.
So.
I had a specific amount of time allotted for this today.
That's fine. How much time do you got left?
Well, I was thinking an hour, but I can do another half hour.
Well, I was also thinking probably about an hour at a time, because after that people tend to get.
Let's leave it here for now, and we can come back again to this later. I just wanted to get a lot of ideas out there about where money might be coming from, how that money's going to go into the kingdom, and who's doing what. Because if we start talking about the coin is doing X, Y, and Z, that's an accounting job. If we're having an accounting job that's getting paid for that, that's got to come from a 501c income. So I want to make sure that, one, we've got all of this stuff happening, the money's coming in first. Like, where's it coming from? Before we say, okay, then we have now this money. Who's getting it? Who's handling it? Because the points here in the bill are pretty straightforward, and it's one page. That's it.
Yeah, and this is way more complicated than one page.
That's what I'm saying. This is a starting template, not necessarily where we want to end up.
Yeah. So while we're all here, what is the next time that we can all get together at the same time and continue this discussion?
I'm good Sundays.
Yeah, Sunday afternoons are really good for me.
Okay. I don't think I have anything going on Sundays either.
JD,
That might be a bit more tricky for me.
we can always record
I
it like we're recording this one.
What?
If you can't make it, we can record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is everybody okay with Sunday afternoon?
Yeah.
yeah.
Keaton?
Keaton?
Well, yeah, every other Sunday I do have a D&D thing at noon
That's fine.
if they ever meet ever again.
Okay. So then let's schedule our next one so we can have a continuation of this and not just throw it off to the wind.
Yeah.
Let's because once it's on my schedule, then it's on my schedule.
The way that I'm writing these laws is I'm gathering opinions, getting consensus, and saying, let's talk about it. Joe and I worked on the Great Chain for like 5 months, and that's pretty much done. But it took a lot of conversations to get there. And I don't want to fuck up the money part of this because that's so huge in what we're doing.
Right.
So
I hear you.
We're just scrapping ideas together here and then starting to say, hey, that's a good idea. Let's go in that direction. That's where I want to get to. And I don't want to go out and get any business licenses until we know what the hell we're doing.
Well, an LLC is not. I mean, I think you're at a point where you want to have an LLC.
I agree.
I do, but I don't know if I want it to be for the kingdom or if I want it to be for a guild or if I want it to be for the Lapines and what's what. Because if we have elections and everybody gets voted out of power here, I don't want to hand my business over to somebody else.
What
Yeah.
if you set up an LLC that was Lapines DBA Bear Hill Shire?
Well, yeah, I was thinking like the Bear Hill Bazaar like we were talking about before
Yeah.
for the LLC.
But it'd be, you.
Yeah, and then we could do like an LLC maybe for the kingdom as a separate thing.
Well, not if you want the kingdom to be a 501c3.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Well, that, and like you were saying, do you really want to pass it off to somebody else if we create a business out of it?
Well, if you make it
Yeah.
a for-profit business, there's always that chance that somebody that might start doing really well, and whoever gets elected into power, hey, there's my piggy bank and how I live my life now.
True. So let's
If your name is on the business, if your name's on the business registry, you've got the business.
Yeah. That's what I want to talk about later.
Yeah, let's table this for now, please, and schedule the next meeting.
Let's say next Sunday.
I like that. I'd like to schedule. I mean, I'm having another brain surgery on the 28th.
Jesus.
I know. I'm just so fucked up. So if we could get as much done before that, because I probably won't want to meet on the 30th.
The 22nd, I'm going to be in Milwaukee for Emily's investiture.
When are you coming back?
22nd, not the 15th. Why did I think it was the 13th?
The 15th is when we're knighting Joe.
Okay. But Knight's Night is canceled.
Yeah,
King's
King's Night's
Night is
canceled.
officially canceled, but we're just doing small gathering days.
So we can get these people knighted like we had promised in King's Night, but try not to make a huge event out of it because of COVID.
And expense too.
Yeah, and we've figured out that it's way cheaper to do little bitty events here and there. So is everybody okay with the 16th in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go 1
Keaton?
o'clock.
Keaton, does 1 p.m. on the 16th work for you?
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends.
D&D, yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie,
We
1
can
o'clock?
always record stuff like you were saying, Dad.
What?
He said maybe because of D&D next weekend on the Sunday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I caught that. Carrie, 1 p.m. work for you?
Yeah, of course.
I need you for a minute after we're done here.
Got it.
We good to go on this part of it for now? We'll table this until we get back to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do everybody want copies of what we got so far?
Put it in the
Discord?
one of the Facebook chats.
Okay. Do we want to start another Facebook chat, or are we just going to put it in King's Council?
Do we not? I was gonna say, do we not have a King's Council chat thing?
Yeah, we do.
So put it there.
Okay.
This has been a production of Bear Hill Films.